Welcome to the iMSM webinar. My name is Marcus Phillips, Associate Director of Recruitment and Admissions here at Gies Online Program. I'm going to wait for a few minutes, give folks a little bit of time to go ahead and get logged in, and we'll get started here shortly. Welcome, come on in. We'll get started here in a few minutes. Come on in and make yourselves comfortable. While we're waiting for folks to log in, I'm going to launch a poll. I just want to get an idea of where you all are joining us from. And so if you want to just let us know where you're logging in from, that'd be great. We'd love to see folks represented from various parts of the world and various parts of the US. Just go ahead and put in the location. Again, we'll get started here in a few minutes. And for those of you who just joined, I put a poll up there if you want to complete the question. Where are you joining from? Quite a few from the United States. All right, Western Europe is represented as well. Great. Well, again, welcome to the iMSM webinar. My name is Marcus Phillips, Associate Director of Recruitment and Admissions for Gies Online Programs. I am excited that you are here to learn more about the MSM program, Gies College of Business at the University of Illinois. And so before we get started, I want to just kind of call out two great people who are here with us today. So I have a wonderful colleague, Amy Simpson, who will be helping out in the Q&A. So if you have questions during the webinar today, be sure to put those questions in the Q&A because that will give Amy enough time, enough space to be able to answer your questions. So we're happy to have Amy joining us today. And also, I have a wonderful student who is part of the iMSM program, Anoop, and he will be here to answer questions and talk about his experience in the program. So if you all just want to just introduce yourselves, Amy, if you want to say a little something, and Anoop, if you want to introduce yourself, go ahead, please.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Like Marcus said, there's a lot of good information here. So feel free to ask questions. Like you said, the Q&A is easier for me to get to your questions in text. Otherwise, I usually will have a little bit of time at the end, and Marcus or Anoop can go through them with you. So feel free to type those up, and hopefully we'll get to all those today.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Anoop, and I'm a student at iMSM right now. And first of all, I would like to say it's wonderful to be on the webinar that I once joined before starting the program. So that's a wonderful role reversal here. And I've been in technology industry for over 2 decades now, basically leading various R&D teams, and more than half of it is in the leadership positions, and most recently as senior manager in leading my vertical here. And you will see a wonderful information that Marcus would be sharing for this webinar with you, and I'll be happy to answer any experiential questions that you would have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anoop. I really appreciate it. Before we get started, please be sure to scan the QR code on the screen with your phone. So this way, a link should appear, and it will direct you to a short survey. And so we'll be happy to connect with you. So definitely feel free to do that. And also, I know tomorrow's Veterans Day, so I do want to acknowledge any veterans in the room. I just wanted to thank you for your service and sacrifice and commitment for our country. To acknowledge that. So we're going to go through the agenda just quickly. We're going to go through the Gies Business Online. What does it mean at the University of Illinois? What are some of the qualities? And then I'll touch on the program overview. And as well, I will touch a little bit on the curriculum and the content. And then we will talk a little bit about application tips and tricks. And then towards the end, you should have time for Q&A with the team. And so feel free to, if you have questions, put them in the chat, or if you want to ask those questions towards the end of the webinar, that'd be great. So Gies Business Online. So I just want to provide a little overview of our online model. There are three main qualities of our model. And so number one, our program is very flexible. So the entire program is 100% online. So you can complete the program in the comforts of your home or office or whatever space you choose. And so we understand that most of you will be working professionals, you may have a family, and so we want to make sure that it's as flexible as possible, so 100% online. The online program is stackable, and so your credentials will stack. Like, so for example, if you take a course, you can stack that course into a certificate, and you can stack that certificate into an online degree program. I'll touch on that in the next slide. And then our program is designed online by design. And so it did not start because of the pandemic, right? And so it wasn't something that was just thrown together pretty quickly. This is something that was very thought through and wanted to make sure that we had experts in teaching and learning, curriculum and content to make sure that this program was a high engaging program, a rigorous program, and a program that is relevant to today's society. With a global component attached to it. So we started in 2016 with our online programs. So we have a pretty strong online infrastructure in place. And again, the highly engaged content is there. And so you don't have to give up your career. You don't have to stop working. You know, if you have family commitments, you can still be a part of your family, but you still can also enjoy a very high engagement program with the iMSM program. And then also you have deep engagement, not only with faculty, but with staff and with your peers, right, in the program. So we'll touch on all three of those throughout the webinar. But just a little bit on the stackable build. And so as you can see on the screen, the stackability is something that we're somewhat unique to our online programs. And so you can start off taking a free online course or MOOC, which means Massive Online Open Courses. And these are our free courses. And so if you want to just learn a little bit about our particular class, you can take this free course, and then you can stack that into the 4-credit course. So that'll be a component of a 4-credit course. And then once you complete a 4-credit course, you can stack that into, you take several courses, you can stack those into a graduate certificate. And then if you complete a graduate certificate, you can stack that into any of our online degree programs. Now, you do not have to actually follow these steps 100%, right? We have some students who want to go directly into the degree program, which is great. We have some students who just want to try out one class, but that class can stack and they may want to go into a certificate program, and that class can stack into that certificate. So there's a lot of flexibility there. There's different ways, access points that you can come into the Gies College of Business with our online classes and online programs. We do offer 3 graduate certificates, one in digital marketing, one in strategic leadership and management, and another in accounting data analytics. So for some of you, you may just want to get a certificate, but for those of you, you may want to earn the entire degree. One cool and unique thing about the iMSM program, we just recently announced that you can stack, once you complete this program, you can stack this program into the iMBA. And so you can finish up the MSM program, and then you can start with the iMBA. We'll talk a little bit more about the details of it. So then that way, once you're finished with this particular program, you're halfway through with your MBA. And so it's a great option for those of you who want to continue on and earn your MBA. So this touched a little bit on the Master of Science in Management quick facts. And so, of course, it delivers a degree from a premier university, right? We have a really strong reputation to provide some outstanding programs in our business school, but also outstanding programs in our online space. And so, couple that with our personal interaction and the price point of $11,500, it's hard to find an awesome program at that price point. And this includes tuition and fees. And within this tuition and fees, it's a pay-as-you-go model. So you don't have to worry about trying to pay this cost up front. And so we are really looking to, Gies Online is really looking at democratizing education and try to make it as affordable and accessible to as many as people as possible. So this is we feel like it's a great bargain for the type of education that you'll receive. The program can be completed between 12 and 24 months. So again, it adds to that flexibility. So if you're a person that, hey, you know what, I can take these 2 classes per semester or every 8 weeks, then you can complete it in about a year, right? But if you need some time and you need to take one course at a time, that's totally fine. You have up to 5 years to complete your degree. But there is some flexibility there. So between 12 and 24 months, I say the average is about a year and a half for students to complete a program. So basically, it's a pace that fits your schedule and that fits your need. And then lastly, there's 4 intake dates. And so you have some flexibility there as well. You don't have to worry about just only January enrolling or August enrolling, right? You can begin in March as well as October. So again, it's that flexibility of when you can begin the program. So within the iMSM program, the average age is 34 years, 9.5 years of experience. So your classmates will have that knowledge, right? There's going to be that support in and outside the classroom. However, there's no work experience required for this particular program, okay? Typically, we'll have students from a business background. However, we have several students who are non-business majors, right, and do not have a background in business. And so this program can kind of cover those foundational business basics or what have you. And so we have had students who were history majors, English majors, art majors, right? And so they really want to just enhance their business acumen and business knowledge. And so this is a great way to get that through the iMSM program. However, we do have seasoned professionals like a Newbin, so who want to, kind of get that practical knowledge and apply what they learn in the classroom to their job. And so there's a range of learners within the program. And we have students representing 44 states, 67 countries. And then again, there's over 600 plus students within the program. So there's that diversity there. And not only diversity from different geographic locations, but also from different sectors. As you can see, 76 Fortune 500 companies are represented, but it's not limited to the Fortune 500, right? We have business owners, right? We have workers in various sectors, in various industries, and various ranges of companies. And so that's the beauty of having this online program where you're able to engage, interact with others throughout the nation and throughout the world. Anu, can you talk about where have you seen maybe the most impact of the program so far in your current career?
Yes, I would love to share that. A very good insight that I got after I started the program and started going through the courses is that when you start to work in your organization, everything starts to appear a little clearer to you. So it's not about one huge jump or one big impact that you see right after you do the course, but every small thing that you do, be it managing a project, be it planning for a project, be it understanding the organization structure better, or handling your team members, team dynamics, decisions you make every day, the amount of risks that you're taking, all those things start to appear a little clearer you start to do everything a little better. And that is what I think is the biggest impact that this program has. And I did not have to complete the program to start seeing the impact. The moment you go through the courses, you start seeing that gradual improvement in your day-to-day executions.
Thank you. Yes, a return on investment is so critical. That's I appreciate that. That's what our learners tend to say about the program. So our professors try to make sure the content is relevant to industry. So thank you. So what is a management degree? Okay. So you think of like it provides your essential business management skills, and you think about this program, right? And I'll touch on the content here shortly. Again, it's designed for working professionals entering the workforce, or with years of technical experience, right? And then it's for that practical application that Anoop just mentioned, right? How that can make an immediate impact, on your particular job. And so that's something we really strive for, to make sure you have that takeaway, something that's applicable to the work that you do. So yeah, so this is a range of things with this management program we'll cover. Here's the content. And so to earn your MSM, you will complete 36 credit hours, which 24 of those credit hours will come from your core courses, which is located on the left-hand side. So these are your business fundamental courses, right? And these courses are for credit hours. So again, you're covering, the different fundamentals from marketing to financial to strategic management, leadership, or what have you. But then you will earn 12 credit hours of elective courses. And these are just some examples on the screen of elective courses. And so again, it's kind of helping you figure out which courses will better suit you with your aspirations as well as your needs. And so pretty much 36 credit hours, nine total courses. So this program is not lockstep. So you are basically in the driver's seat. You choose your courses, you plan your schedule, pretty much all based on what you need. And of course, we have support personnel here to guide and direct you through that process. And so we want to make sure there's that flexibility there. And so the electives will kind of cover that piece, like I mentioned before. Now, there are two major components to the coursework. So the first is through Coursera, which is an online provider of MOOCs or massive online open courses that I mentioned earlier. So pretty much these MOOCs provide the foundational material in the course, kind of like your textbook for the course. Typically, there are 2 MOOCs in every course. So there's one during the first 4 weeks, and then there's another one during the second 4 weeks. You will earn a completion grade if taken this through Coursera, and we will migrate that to your Illinois course. If you complete a certificate within Coursera, then that will be integrated into the course as completed. It's not necessarily for a grade, but it's for that completion piece of your course. So there's 2 components. This is the first component, the Coursera, kind of like your textbook of the course. The second component is the high engagement piece, which kind of builds on the MOOC. So these can include live lectures, these can include case studies, team projects, peer-driven discussions, or what have you. And so there's a lot of engagement. We purposely created this program to be a highly engaged program, right? And so we want to make sure our students are engaged. And this is what I find from talking to learners, this is where their rich learning happens, right? And then Anoop, can you kind of just talk about how you balance, I guess, the Coursera component and the high engagement portion of the classes?
So the Coursera component very well complements the live sessions, the high engagement component of the course. The way to best extract the benefit from the course is to first go through the MOOC, the Coursera component, before you attend the live session. So the way I pace myself is I don't go too ahead into the moves, and I don't also fall behind. I just work 1 week ahead of the live session so that my study of MOOC is very, very relevant for the discussion that is going to happen with professors in the live session. And that's the way it continues through the pace. It's regular, it's consistent, and it is 1 week ahead of the live sessions that are happening there.
And so typically within the live sections, like a 90-minute live section, do you all tend to go into like breakout groups and like work on questions and projects? Is that how it operates, Anu?
Yes, so live sessions are very, very interactive. There is interaction going on always continuously through the chats. And then the professors take you through the breakout rooms. There are various rooms created for small groups of students, and there is a relevant question connected to the topic under discussion that's given to you. And you get into huddle of 4 or 5 students there, and you brainstorm on that business problem. And then you come back and you are prompted to share your findings from the group discussion to the whole class. So you get into the discussion, come out with live findings, and then you come back to the class and you share your findings with the whole class. And there is opportunity for people to chime in, professors to give you their opinion about what you discussed. And likewise, it continues. So it's mutual learning and not just professor telling you something and then you have to continue with that.
Yes, yes. And are they typically offered, when these live sessions are weekly, are they typically offered like 2 to 3 times, like during the week, where students can take advantage of?
That was one of the questions I had when I was joining the program, that how do you manage students from various time zones for a live session to happen? And this program has, as Marcus pointed out, immense amount of flexibility, and that flexibility also reflects in how the live sessions are conducted. So you have 3 live sessions in a week, and those 3 live sessions are spaced out in the 24-hour window such that they cover all the time zones that you may fall into. One of the session would certainly be the right fit for you. So I have my preferences and I join those live sessions, and that's how you cover the entire gamut of time zones.
Awesome, thank you. And also, not to forget students, or prospective students, there's peer-driven discussions and tutoring. So, and then there's faculty office hours. So we want to make sure, obviously, you have your peers within the learning environment, right, to work with, but also, there's faculty who have office hours or what have you. So keep that in mind as well. So it's not just an asynchronous. You're just going to just provide an assignment and then you're working on your own and then you don't engage with anyone. This is definitely an engaging environment. And so if you're unable to attend any of the live lectures, they are recorded. Even though we highly encourage you all to attend live lectures. And it's really just one that you would want to attend. You don't have to attend all 3 if it's being offered in one particular day. So keep that in mind. And so, like I mentioned before, how Gies College of Business, we really want to make sure that we are making education accessible to as many people as possible, and that's part of our mission as a land grant institution. So we try to deliver, on our purpose, right? That's our purpose, is to democratize education. So as you can see with the numbers, we have so many learners, right, in our online programs, and we have a great amount of alum, and then it shows underrepresented minorities and women. So there's definitely diversity there, not only in terms of race, ethnicity, but diversity of thought, geographic diversity as well. And then, like I mentioned before, we have over 76, different Fortune 500 companies. So diversity of professional experiences from a diverse group of companies and sectors, right? And so, which is a great space to be able to learn from others and also to contribute your expertise and knowledge as well. So, Anu, do you feel that students need to have a business background to be successful in the iMSM program?
Certainly not. I have so many colleagues in the program, so many fellow students who come from such diverse backgrounds, and majority of them are not actually practicing business managers. So people from various diverse backgrounds come in, and professors, while teaching, take this into account. They don't assume that you know the subject a priori. So it starts ground up, and the diversity of the class that in this fashion also helps you to learn, because everybody contributes via their experiences and their points of view. So certainly you don't have to be a business person to get into a management program, but you should definitely have a drive to for the business and acumen and for understanding of those principles.
Great. Thank you. Good information. Good advice. And so we talked a little bit about like the content of the program, the academic environment of the program. We also want to talk about the networking piece, right? This is a huge benefit of our particular program, is the opportunity to network, right? And so you're thinking like, wow, how do I get connected in a virtual environment? And so there's several ways. So one is through our Gies led opportunities, right? So this is through the college. And so we lead these opportunities through iConnects, through immersions, through an event called iConverge. And so those are ways you can get connected. And then students tend to lead these opportunities as well. It's whether through Workplace, which is our online platform for our students, or just some student-led meetups where students will connect, and also through group work, right? So there's various ways that you can network in our program, and I think that's a huge plus about having a high engagement component within our program, is being able to connect and network with others. And so I know just recently, well, actually here in the future, in January, we will have an iConnect, an immersion event in Houston. And I think we just finished one in Japan this past fall as well. So there's definitely opportunity to get connected there. So the first one, in terms of being able to network, is through the immersion programs. And so these are programs where students will spend about 3 to 4 days in a city, working with organizations, understanding the culture of the city, the industry there. This is a picture of our group who attended immersion in Seattle, and they ended up working with the NHL newest franchise. And so, which is pretty cool. It's like a 3-day, highly engaged, interactive event. And so they helped this NHL franchise kind of solve some current business challenges, right? Being a new franchise. They got a chance to go to the arena, get behind the scenes, and of course the social aspect there as well, right? You're connecting with your peers. So it was just a great way to learn, to connect with industry professionals, with an organization, and to just have fun, right? So this is just one example of many more immersions to come, like I mentioned, in Houston and Columbia, actually next fall as well. And so that is one. And I talked about the iConnects. And so these are where the Gies-led programs will have a speaker do some professional development with current learners as well, and in different cities. And so the iConnect event will be in Houston in January. And then have you had opportunity to be involved in like an iConnect event or an immersion event?
I was looking forward to going to an immersion, but unfortunately, because of all those office pressures, I couldn't join one. But I certainly look forward to one of the immersions during this year, 2023, basically.
Okay. And these immersion events, it is a cost associated with these events. And so I do wanted to point that out, and that cost can vary. And then lastly, for our Gies, and sorry, the slides are a little slow, is our iConverge event, which is our annual networking and professional development event. which is an awesome event for our online learners to come to Central Illinois to our campus in Champaign-Urbana, just to connect with each other, right? To see your peers face to face and to meet with faculty and also to meet with leadership. And so from what I've heard from our learners, it's so cool to be able to see people and see the faculty that's been teaching online, right? And then, have opportunity to network, had opportunity to attend a football game, right? And do some professional development as well. And this year, it's held in September, second week of September. And this year we had over 500 online learners at this event. And it was pretty awesome that we had Larry Gies, who the college is named after, attend iConverge and to hear him speak. And it was awesome, such a humble guy. And this is optional, right? So you're not required to attend this event. So we don't have a residential requirement in our program. I wanted to make that clear as well. And we had a large group from Singapore, for example, that attended iConverge. So, Anoop, are you planning on attending iConverge here in the future, next year?
This is one thing that nobody should miss at iMSM, any other program at Gies. And 2023 is my target for this as well.
Nice. Definitely look forward to seeing you.
I would also like to add that you don't have to be within the program to attend iConverge. You can do it anytime later as well. Even as an alumni, you can join it.
That's very true. We had several alumni who attended this year iConverge because they just either A, they didn't get a chance to attend while they were a student, or B, they did and they loved it and they wanted to come back and just continue to network and connect. And it's that community, right? So it's this sense of community that's being created within these online programs. And so I'll talk a little bit about, go ahead.
I guess I would just like to add, I'm so excited to add this thing. This is one of the alumni benefits that you get. And this is an amazing networking opportunity. So if you go through the program, this is the forum that's open to you every year, all through. So that's amazing.
Awesome. Thanks for that plug. Definitely. And then Anoop, have you utilized Workplace as our online platform for our learners? Have you utilized Workplace? And if so, like in what manner?
Yeah, Workplace is the focal point of communication across all students, groups, and classes. So all the informal communication happens through Workplace. The official communication for the courses that happens through the Canvas portal. But Workplace is where various groups are formed. The moment you get into a course, there will be a group for the course with fellow learners there. They will be discussing various course topics there. And various study groups get created in Workspace. It's just like Facebook or your WhatsApp groups, where you can create groups on your own with fellow-minded people and fellow learners, and then continue to discuss and learn with them. So it's where I've been very active with Workspace also.
Great. So that's another way that you can connect, definitely on Workplace. I mentioned student meetups. And so this is where you can connect with your peers outside of the classroom. The picture in the bottom right-hand side, I think they were in the country of Colombia. And so it doesn't have to be within the United States. It can be outside the United States. And so typically students will, connect, like Nick said, through Workplace and, get a chance to meet up at a restaurant or what have you, or a coffee shop. And so these are student-led throughout, different cities in the U.S. So again, another way to really just get connected, with your peers. And so once, you get through the program or you're going through the program and, I talked a little bit about the flexibility, but I also want to talk a little bit about the support that is provided. Of course, you have your peers within the program, but you also have your faculty members that provide direction and support. But we have a student academic success team as well. So you're not in it alone. Again, you had a community of people that will be there to support you. And so within this team, these are our professional advisors that work strictly with our online students. And again, they'll provide, direction and guidance with degree planning, help you navigate degree requirements and policies. And you can actually schedule an advising meeting if it's going to be more than like 15 minutes. And so you schedule an advising meeting. Or if you just had a really quick question, you can virtually just pop in to our advising hours. And if you had a quick advising question, you can get those answered as well. And again, with the meetings, your one-on-one appointments. And so if you need more of a one-on-one type of engagement, you can certainly do so. So I wanted to just kind of stress that as well, that even within this online environment, we will have professionals out there to guide and direct you through your time within the program. So I'm going to do a little poll here, and before we get started on application requirements. So let's see. All right. So what is your biggest hesitancy in pursuing graduate education at this time? I'm just curious of what is there anything what is holding you back from pursuing graduate education? Okay, I see time. Not sure if the return of investment is worth it. Those are typically, questions that students have. Sometimes cost can be a concern as well. Okay. Well, let's talk about the application requirements, because I know sometimes people may have some concerns about, what is required, the admission requirements or what have you to get into the program. And so there are a couple of things we look for in terms of your application. So your resume, first and foremost, is your resume, right? We don't want anything elaborate when it comes to your resume. It's really maybe 1 to 2 pages of information that will reference your application, okay? So if you're putting your application information in terms of your work experience, to kind of match up what's on your particular resume, right? So kind of like a snapshot of your experience. The academic history, for the graduate college, the minimum GPA is a 3.0 GPA, and so we want to make sure that you meet that requirement. And then also we want to make sure that we receive your transcript. Okay, we will accept unofficial transcripts at the time of application. Once you're admitted to our program, then we will need those official transcripts. And so we want to make sure to get those in before your classes begin, right? So we also want make sure you upload your mark sheet in English and your certificate degree for international students. Okay, so keep that in mind. There is a personal statement. And so basically, it's just talking about, how has your background and experience influenced you to pursue, graduate education or pursue this particular degree? And why do you feel this program is an ideal fit, for you, right? And it's really just helping us to get to know you. What are you like? What are you going to bring to the program? So it's your time to shine, to be honest. And so there's also an optional essay. And so for those students who, if you, didn't meet the 3.0 GPA and, you're not too far from 3.0 GPA, there could be some justification for that, right? You may have been out of school because of something that, happened in life or what have you. And there can be an area where you can kind of explain where it may have been a dip one semester, due to unforeseen circumstances or what have you. And so those would be evaluated on a case by case basis by the admission team. So we do want, we're not going to just be super strict and say 3.0. If there's something there, we want to give you the opportunity to explain if you're under that 3.0 GPA. Also, 2 professional letters or recommendations. We prefer to have someone that, the supervisor, for example, maybe a professor or what have you, can talk about your character, right? And so within the application, there's going to be a section where you just simply write the recommender's name and email address, and then we will do the rest. We will send them, the recommenders, a form for them to fill out. If they want to attach a letter as well, they can certainly do so. So keep that in mind. And then there's test scores that are required for international applicants only. And so they're listed on the screen. And there's a waiver essay. And so some international students can be exempt from this requirement. And so, Amy, do you mind putting in the chat the waiver as the link to the exemptions for the English proficiency requirement? And so that will provide you a lot of information on how students are able to waive the proficiency requirement. So keep that in mind. GRE GMAT is they're optional. So they're not required. Basically, if you want to submit those scores, you certainly can do so. That's just another data point we will reference in the application, but you're not required to. And then there's a scholarship essay as well. And so that is something that we will take into consideration. Now, one thing I want to mention that's on the screens is the performance-based admission track. So we have some students who really want to take one step at a time within the program. So as opposed to applying directly into the program, some students will go through our performance-based admission track. And so they want to try out the academic rigor first. And so students will take 3 courses. It's microeconomics, stats, and money and banking. They'll take 1 course at a time. And if they earn a B or better in 2 of those courses, and an overall GPA of a 3.0, then they can continue into the program as a direct admit. And this could happen also for students who may not meet the direct admit requirement. We will recommend students to go through the performance-based admission track. And so keep that in mind as well. Those requirements. So once the application is submitted, it takes 1 to 2 weeks to receive an email if you have any missing material, or if you've been accepted into the program. Once all materials are in, students are invited to an interview. And so we will go ahead and interview about 15 to 20 minutes, very casual interview, really getting to know you. Want to kind of see how you engage and interact virtually, right? And so it's not a really stressful process. Admissions decisions are made on a weekly basis, every Friday, and so we try not to keep these admissions, keep you waiting for these admissions. Anoop, do you remember your Zoom interview and how was it?
Yeah, that's not something to forget about. So yeah, it was wonderful. It was very smooth and very warm and welcoming. That's the first thing I would say. And secondly, about the content of it, the objective of the interview was to basically gauge your objectives of getting into the program. How comfortable are you in communicating in this setting in English language, and what is it that you're looking from the program? How can you contribute, and what can the program contribute back to you to help you achieve your goals that you have set out for yourself? So that was the main focus of discussion. Secondly, I had an agenda myself while I was in the interview. So I tried to find out how would this program help me based on my questions and my requirements. I had, for example, the question about time zones, the question about how networking happens, the question about how would the alumni benefits turn out to be, and many such things. So I would say that's a two-way opportunity for you before you join the program. The institute wants to find out whether you are a good fit for the program, and it is for you also to find out if there are any unanswered questions, to just go ahead and ask the interviewer there.
Awesome. Thank you. Great information. So yeah, very, very casual interviews. Hopefully you get me in an interview. I enjoy that part of the application process. I love just engaging with learners and just getting to know you, and it's cool just to meet folks from different states and different countries as well. But I do want to let you know before we head out, the final application deadline for if you want to start in January is December 1st. And so I have a little bit less than a month to submit your application for the January start date. And if you have any questions, feel free to connect with us. Our email address is on the screen as well as our number. And again, you can scan the QR code, and that information will come to our office. Either myself or one of my colleagues will reach out if you have any questions for us at all. And then lastly, plans. And so what describes you best after we finish this webinar? You can just put your information, start my application. I'd love to hear that. Planning to apply in the next year, which is great. Still, some people are still interested. It's not quite ready yet, which is fine. And that's what we're here for, to answer questions for you all. So thank you for the engagement and answering these questions. Awesome. We still have about a few more minutes left. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to have my colleague Amy join us. Was there anything in particular, Amy, that stood out in terms of questions?
No, it was pretty quiet actually in the Q&A. We just had a couple questions about one about immersion expenses, which I think you covered, that's a separate expense, but immersions are completely optional. You don't have to do those to complete any of the degree programs. And then also a question about can we attend different time sections of the online classes? So the live classes, are you once you decide on a certain time, do you need to stick with it? So I don't think you specifically answered that, but no, that's completely flexible. You can choose from week to week which one you're available for. If you're not available one week, like let's say, life happens or you have a late meeting at work or something, those live classes are available later as a recording. So you're not locked into any specific time from class to class or from course to course. That's one of those nice flexibility things that you can kind of make it work for your schedule.
Definitely. Thank you with that. And we had a question about average time commitment. On average, if you're taking one course, it's about 10 hours a week on average that you need to spend to make sure you're successful. If you're taking two courses, like 20, 25 hours a week. And do you have any say, like from a student perspective?
I think that's a perfectly fair estimate. You can do it in much lesser hours also. If you don't want to benefit a lot from the program, you can just rush through it. You'll still be able to manage a lot of things, but I would not recommend that. It's good to spend time on a course because you're also spending your money on it. So extract the best benefit out of it. And this is the right estimation to best extract the benefit out of the course that you're going through. So I would agree with that.
Yes, and then we have time for one more question. Yeah, your degree will not say online. It would just say a master's in management from the Gies College of Business. And our degrees, it's our degree, the flexibility there is just different than the residential. And then there's a global component, right? You're meeting with students from all over the world. And again, with our particular degree program, we have an advisory board of folks in the industry. And so we wanted to make sure that the rigor is there, the engagement level is there, and the return of investment. And you talked about that earlier, how the information that we provide is relevant. Students apply that to their jobs. And so we have had several students get promotion because they're learning so much in our program and being able to apply it to their position. So great program. So for some students, it really depends on the student if you want to enroll in MSM and an MBA. For some students, they may just want to go right into the MBA program. For the MSM, for some students, with the MBA program, there is a requirement. So you need to have at least 3 to 4 years of work experience as part of the requirement. And so some students, students who don't have the requirement, they cannot be admitted into the MBA program. So they end up going to the MSM. And so we just try to make sure that, you know, you finish that MSM and maybe your goal was an MBA where you don't have to start over, right? And so the stackability prevents that from happening. And so you can finish up with 2-degree programs. So, but thank you for the questions. We have to end. We got another presentation coming up. So I want to thank you all. Thank you, Amy and Anoop, so much for your assistance. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you all for visiting and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome. Thank you.